so tough. She done works the diner all day, working for her man. She brings home the pay for love, for love. Gotta hold on to what we've got. It doesn't make a difference if we make it or not. We got each other, and that's a lot for love. We'll give it a shot. Whoa, halfway there. Whoa, living on a prayer. Take my hand, we'll make it, I swear. Whoa, living on a prayer, living on a prayer. Hi, Mary.
You are amazing. I love your authenticity. You just make my heart so happy every time I watch you.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to make your heart happy. That's one of my goals in life. So welcome to the show, Mary. I'm so glad to have you here.
I feel so privileged and humbled and honored to be here. Thank you for having me.
We're going to have so much fun. But before we get started, I do want to do some housekeeping. Is that cool?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, guys, welcome to the Greatness Machine on this special Labor Day. I'm your host, Darius Mirshahzadeh, and today we have a very special in my new friend, Mary Guirovich. So welcome to the show, Mary.
Thank you. Welcome. Hi, everyone.
So good to have you here. Guys, the format of the show is quite simple. We're bringing together change makers from all over the world who are basically living their passions to create greatness. So pumped to have Mary to talk about all the greatness that she's doing. And we're going to go there in just a second. But before we go there, a couple things. First of all, we are live. So start a watch party if you're on Facebook. You want to share this. People are hanging out. It's Labor Day. They're having their coffee. My kids brought home donuts. We had a couple of donuts this morning. So guys, start a watch party. Ask questions. I know I'm a slave driver. My team's on standby. They're not supposed to do this. Sorry, Casey. I apologize. Yeah, I got my team on standby. So send over questions if you have them. And with that said, guys, we do have a very special guest. Mary, I just want to give, I write my own bios, Mary. I don't know if you know this. So I'm going to give
I didn't know that, but this is exciting.
Yes. I don't go off those like big professional ones. I give my own. So
they're boring anyways.
You guys, Mary is a really special guest. She's a coach, trainer, and speaker, and she helps women advance in their careers. And she's the creator of My Promotion Plan. And we met through Lioncrest, my publisher, and that's our publisher. And she has a new book coming out in 2021. And can you give us the working title of that book?
Yeah, it's called Your Time Is Now.
Awesome. So tell us, Mary, let's chop it up. Like, what's going on in your world? And there's a lot going on in everyone's world, but what's going on in your world that's special and new that is leading to this book? I want to hear all about it.
Absolutely. Well, I'm also an executive at a company called Freedom Practice Coaching. And so that's actually how I developed the promotion planning process that I teach about in my book. But what I really love about it, because there's so much chaos and craziness going on right now, but personally, I try to just focus on the positive. What are the things within my control? How can I make every day a great day? I think we have choices in life, and sometimes we take that for granted. So when I wake up, it's an amazing day. And even in a time like this, I actually wrote a promotion plan, which I'll be talking a little bit about today, but you can even use them in a time of crisis like this. So even if your company is not doing well or they're stressed with COVID, they add so much value that it's really makes a huge impact. But right now, I'm just trying to balance everything like everybody else. I've got 4 kids, all the way from a 4-year-old up to a 21-year-old. So lots of kids and things like that happening. Leading a team at work. So virtually. So we've kind of switched in and started learning those kind of modes and things. And my husband actually works for a disinfecting company. So he's working like crazy. So we are just trying to keep all of the chaos going in this beautiful circle and stay positive.
That's so cool. Can you hear me? I'm getting a little bit of.
Oh yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I was having some streaming issues. So I heard you, but I was having a little bit of technical. Sorry, guys. Sometimes we get technical difficulties when we're live. So that's so cool. I think that approach, and people who watch the show hear me say this a lot, that how you are anywhere is how you are everywhere. So by what I really do believe that sometimes our emotions own us, which is not necessarily a great thing, but I love how you wake up and say every day is a great day, because I think if the whole world did that, gosh, it would be I think we'd have a much greater environment to be in. And today it's hard, right? There's real people that are losing their lives right now because of COVID, and we're in the middle of a pretty divisive, presidential election. And so I think there's a lot of stress out there, but I do totally believe in what you're saying, which is if we own it, then what can we do? So tell me about that. How do you take that ideology? Oh, my video's frozen. That's what I was just told. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I was seeing that. I can hear you. I just can't see you, but I can hear you just fine.
Well, yeah, let's go. As long as they can see you, they don't need to see my ugly mug. Let's focus on you. So yeah,
Okay.
with that ideology around positivity, can you, maybe tell us, how did you, give us some background? Like we were talking earlier before the show. By the way, guys, we are, she comes from Western Pennsylvania, those are my roots. Those are my roots. I got Persian roots, and I got Italian American roots. And my Italian American roots, all my fam in Western Pennsylvania, love you guys. I got Western Pennsylvania roots. So we were talking about, let's go back to Western Pennsylvania. So you moved out to Texas from Western Pennsylvania. Tell us a little bit about how you got into what you're doing right now.
Yeah, so I actually, when I graduated from college, which I actually didn't think I was even going to go to college because I kind of thought I was too stupid. And that's a lot of what I want to teach people, is really how to claim your value in life, not just at work, but even in life. But so when I moved to Texas, I was working in restaurants and doing things like that. And then I got out of restaurants and I was doing inspections. So I was working for a company called EcoSure, and I was going around and doing all of these inspections, and they kind of transitioned the way they were doing things. And it wasn't really fulfilling me. I didn't feel like my work was full of purpose. And so one day I came home, I was broke out in hives and, doing what any other woman would do, eating ice cream in her bed. And my husband's like, why don't you look for a job outside of the restaurant industry? And I kind of thought, like, will they hire me? Can I even do that? And that day I was looking on Craigslist and I saw this ad for a wellness center, and there was this number to call. So I called it, and like the most beautiful woman had this amazing message of health and wellness and how their company operated like a family. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. So I hung up the phone and I called my husband and I said, come over here, listen to this. And he played it, and he's like, well, Mary, like, yes, you should get a job outside of the restaurant industry, but like, that's a front office assistant. They're not going to pay you enough. And I was like, no, this is it. So I did everything within my power to get that job. I'm like, I want this job because I had been looking for health and wellness my whole life. I was very passionate about it. I just was doing all the wrong things. I didn't realize that healthy choice meals and diet sodas weren't healthy for you. Anyways, I got hired at the wellness center, and it just so happened that our founder, Dr. Charles Webb, was starting a company called Freedom Practice Coaching. So I'm actually the first team member with Freedom Practice Coaching. So I went from a front office assistant 8 years ago up to an executive today.
And so, so you, like, that's obviously a really big jump. Like, how do you make that big of a jump?
Yeah, well, I just did everything I learned in college to get hired. I was fortunate enough because I thought, all the smart kids are going to get hired. Like, I didn't feel like I was that intelligent. So I needed every unfair advantage. And so I listened very diligently when they taught us how to land a job. And I just used all of those things when I went to get this job, right? Like, go above and beyond, show up early, dress professionally, do more than they expect, send the cards afterwards. All of these things that really make a huge difference. But I really feel like God was in this with me because nothing makes rational sense. It's not based in reality. And that's where I feel like sometimes when we just follow what's reality, we lose out in life because you have to take risk and chances. And so for me, it just felt right. And being a follower of Jesus, they were playing Caleb, and I could just feel the passion, and I wanted to follow a leader that was going somewhere. And that's really what attracted me there. If the leader wouldn't have been passionate the way that he was and is today, then I don't think I would have stayed there.
And this is the wellness center we're talking about. Is that correct?
Yeah. And when they hired me, they told me, your job is what you make it. And they also told me, we want people that not only have great ideas, but people that implement. And so I kind of used that all throughout my time with them. And I did get stuck at a point, and that's when I had to develop the promotion plan, because I was actually told no for a promotion that I wanted. I was told I was going to have to do the job before I could get it. And that was really hard to hear. I was not in a good place in my life at that point in time. I just felt very defeated, and I had a lot of imposter syndrome. So even though I had won like team member of the year, I was leading really big projects, my clients were successful, some of the most successful that we had, I still felt like I wasn't capable. And I actually would have conversations with my husband where I would tell him all the time how incapable I was, because he would always be like, you should be an executive, you should do this, you should do this. And I would always be like, well, I would tell him every reason why I couldn't and why I shouldn't. And when I had that belief, that limiting belief that I wasn't capable of kind of advancing, I was holding myself back. So sometimes in life, the words that we say are so powerful, the thoughts that we think are so powerful, but we don't realize it. And so we create our own fate. And wouldn't you know, 3 months before the position became open for the COO, I actually was at a leadership meeting, and I felt so inspired during that meeting. I stood up and told the current COO that I was going to be the next her. And I wasn't kicking her out. I loved her. I didn't want her to go anywhere. But I, in that moment, claimed that value for myself, that I would be capable of doing that thing. And so when the position came open 3 months later, it was like this natural transition that I knew I had to walk down the hall. I knew I had to have that conversation with my boss, even though I was scared and nervous. I had a huge pit in my stomach and a huge lump in my throat. And when I got to the door, like my palm was so sweaty, but I knew I had to go in there and tell them I wanted the open position. So
it's funny, like what you just talked about. I don't know if you, because my book's not out yet, but essentially my book's, that's basically what my book says, which is that the core value equation is that your core values equals the conversations that we have, right? It's the words that we choose in our life. Yeah. So our core values, when we're explicit about them, and my whole book's about how do you discover, design, roll out, implement, and then measure your core values for success in a business specifically, but you could take most parts of that and do it in your personal life too. I think that's my next book, actually. And so, but what you just said really spoke to that, is that if you've defined what, the words that you're saying to yourself, the conversations you're having, and this comes from Werner Erhard at S. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but am I frozen still?
Oh no, you're still frozen. I see just a black screen, but I don't know if that's just me.
No, it's not just you. Can you hear me though?
I can hear you just fine.
All right, cool. Because I can't tell if I'm, that's why I keep pausing. I want to make sure you can hear me. So anyway, Werner Erhard from S basically has this whole thing, and there's Landmark Forum comes out of this. And I worked with a coach from Werner who studied under Werner Erhard. And their whole thing is the conversations we have with ourselves equals the actions we take, which equals the results in our lives. So it sounds to me like you really did that. Essentially, you had this conversation, you removed the limiting belief, and then you took it and ran with it. And so if I heard you correctly, you started off as really, it sounds like almost like an executive assistant and worked your way up to COO of this company. Is that what you just said to me?
Yeah, that's exactly it. I was a front office assistant in a wellness center. And I mean, there were even people at the wellness center when I got there. So there were people that were there longer term than me. But a lot of times I think we think our promotions and our value is based on how long we're at a company, but that really has little to do with it. But you're exactly right. The thoughts and our beliefs are so important, because we won't even take the chances if we don't have the belief. And you don't even have to know about this stuff for it to work, right? When I was going through this and like having these conversations with my husband, not believing, to the time when I started believing, I wasn't aware of the belief and the thought. I can just look at it going backwards. And that's oftentimes what I ask people to do, is like, so if you're listening right now, like just think about it. Like think about your past. When was there a time when you told yourself that you were incapable of something, but then in a moment you change that belief? And usually that belief changes whenever we now have like a new thought tied with a really strong emotion, which overrides any previous thought. And so I think it's just so important that we really pay attention to what we tell ourselves.
Yeah. So, obviously you took that and then you turn it into this thing you're calling my promotion plan, or that's what you named it. So walk us through that. I mean, when you started saying it, I was hearing a lot of these amazing things that are around relationship building and showing initiative, but if you wouldn't mind, walk us through it. And then I have a really interesting question around it once you tell us what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. So the promotion planning, it actually does the negotiating for you. You see, I was really uncomfortable with talking about money and kind of advocating for myself. And my boss, well, he's a master negotiator. So it's like, how am I going to go up to this, right? How is this going to work? Well, the truth is that we have to quit thinking about ourselves. If you're trying to earn a promotion for yourself, you're doing it for the wrong reasons. You have to be earning that promotion because you want to further the mission of your company, you want to better your company, and you want to serve the people around you. So the first shift is kind of in your head. And then when you start to put the promotion plan together, there's 7 different parts that I teach people to do. And the first one is an appreciation letter. So you really need to help the people, like people around you, helped you succeed. So first, show some gratitude and appreciate them. The next thing you need to do is you need to toot your own horn, right? A lot of times we feel uncomfortable kind of talking about our accomplishments and the things that we did. I know I lead a really large team. I wouldn't be able to know everything that they're doing to add value to the company. So instead of having to go into the office and awkwardly go through these things that you've accomplished, I teach you how to outline them and put them into kind of like an accomplishments section. And that wasn't actually in my first promotion plan. My first promotion plan was the 3rd section, which is your problem solving section. So basically you come up with challenges that you see in the office, right? A lot of times we have a vision of how things could be, how they could be better, how they could be smoother, how we could impact more lives in our case. And so what we do in that section is we break down, because so many times you try to just go into your manager's office and you try to just tell them ideas and they like shut the door on you. They're like, get out, like no more ideas, like, right? But they don't want ideas for a couple of reasons. One, they don't know how to accomplish that idea. Second, they really don't know why the idea is important or why it's a top priority at this time. And the third reason is they have a lot of people knocking on their doors with ideas. And so the way we try to break it down is you list like why something is needed, and then what are your solutions? So instead of just walking into your boss's office with a problem, you walk in with a master game plan of how to help the company advance. And usually people think it's difficult, but that's where you can really show your strategy. And it's not that complicated because you know your business and you love your business. And so we help you do that part. And then the next thing you want to do is you want to understand what your value is in the marketplace. So if you're looking for a raise or promotion, it's not enough to just sometimes we undervalue ourselves because we don't know what the marketplace has to offer. So you can use websites like PayScale, Indeed, or Glassdoor. They have some salary tools on there that you can use, but you want to look in your area and you want to look nationally for your current position and then the position that you want. And in addition to that, I tell people also connect with people, right? Do you have other colleagues that are in your field? Connect with them and see what they're making in their positions, because the information online is limited. But once you know your value, you can now better negotiate. And so you can actually just write that information down, or you can leave it out of your promotion plan and just kind of have it in your head. And then the last thing you want to do is, there's 2 more things you want to do, but you want to have a closing, right? So you want to be really clear on what it is you want. A lot of times I see people making all these mistakes when they're asking for promotions. I've made them too, but you have to be really clear. So I always tell people, when you write your closing, read it, have somebody else read it, and can they very clearly see what you want? What position do you want? Are you looking for a certain compensation, or do you just want to have that conversation around compensation? And then the last thing you want to do is you want to create a personal development plan. People that are going to continue to grow within organizations are people that develop. And if you want opportunities to have more chances for development, then you want to have a plan written out. So you just want to think about the 3 areas or the 4 areas you want to really grow in that year. And then look at what the opportunities are. Maybe it's books you'd be reading, online courses you would take. Maybe you would get mentors. Maybe it's an experience that you need to have. But you always want to think about, how am I going to grow? And then one of the bonus things you could add to your promotion plan is a timeline. These are great if you're looking to advance year after year after year. And so you can put a timeline together that kind of says, these are the positions that I would like, and this is what I would do in the position, and these are the skills that I need to learn. And what's really cool about this is it helps your managers or your boss to already start envisioning you in those positions in the future. And so the way the promotion plan is lined out, it kind of does all the negotiating for you. Like literally when I go into a meeting to talk about this, I've never had to have a hard negotiation conversation, and I've earned larger promotions than I ever had in the past. And it's all because I'm putting value and serving first without it being about me.
Yeah, dude, you just blew my mind right now. This is really smart. And so so you don't know, I don't know if you know this, but I'm CEO, right? Like I'm the CEO that you're, by the way, presenting this stuff to. So I've spent the last 20 years being a CEO. The company, I just left my company in November, and that was a company I grew from 30 to 1,000 employees at its peak. And so the reason I say all that is I'm the audience. I am specifically the audience, or people that report to me are the audience that your people are, depending on what position they're applying for. So I have this whole thing, which is the inverse of what you're doing, which is when I bring people into the organization, it's about me serving and giving to the team members so that they will then give and serve back to me. Right. So, and this is when, by the way, guys, those of you guys that have good marriages, this is the key to a good marriage, is when both people are trying to give to each other. Right. So what you just told me, though, and it's funny because everyone has ideas, and sitting in the CEO seat, you know how many ideas I get? I go, great. Or how many complaints about what's broken. Like, and what I used to say is, I said, don't give me problems, give me solutions. Like, I can go and you want me to sit at your desk and I'll tell you everything you're doing wrong. Like, that's easy, so it's so amazing. Like, you literally, like, you totally hacked this. This is amazing. Like, you're essentially, it's, to your point, all around creating an argument, a value argument, which is, hey, here's the appreciation. By the way, I call that the heart opener, because I do that when I onboard team members. I do a heart opener to start with because I want them to love me and love the company. So it's about immediate appreciation give to them to get them to love. And then it's around teaching them about themselves. So it's a give. And then I teach them about core values. That's chapter 6 in my book. It doesn't feel like a take at that point, because number one, I've already done all these. There's already been like 3 or 4 gives on my side. Lots of appreciation, lots of love, lots of teaching them about themselves. And then it's the ask. And you literally have the same formula, which is showing appreciation. So are you showing appreciation to the manager or to the team around you, or both?
I generally show appreciation for the people that I'm having the meeting with, because I feel like they give me a lot of the opportunities. I try to appreciate my team. I just do that very differently. Like, I love my team. I love them. Like, I hope they know I love them. I give them hearts all the time. Like, I know that I would not be where I am today without my team. Like, they support me. They give me opportunities, and I know that, and I love them for that. And I want them to also be able to grow and develop their opportunities, which is why I teach them how to do the plans too. But it's great because it's like a gift for me too, because now I can see, hey, okay, this is what we're going to accomplish. Instead of people just kind of walking into the office like, I want more money.
Yeah. Because when they do that, you're starting off as a negotiation. But I'm going to add, I think you should put in there the top 3 team members that you're appreciative for in there, because what that shows, especially if you're going into a managerial role, it shows that you put your team first to the person you're talking to. So in a way that's formalized, instead of, because someone might say, oh, they're just, brown nosing or whatever, because they're telling me how they appreciate me. They might not just, that's how it could get, misinterpreted. And I think and I'm not trying to change your plan. I'm just telling you from the CEO seat, I see this in managers though. They, like, when they put their team first, and especially if you're in a service oriented organization, the CEO's like, I like this person takes bullets for their team. I like that. Right. Anyway, that's just my little critique, but that is really smart. And where you're saying, here's what I see the opportunities are in the business, and here's my plan to fix them. And here's the timeline. Oh, and by the way, here's how I want to develop in the future. And oh, by the way, here's the next position I want to have and how I want to get there. What you're doing is taking ownership of the growth of the company, which is so the managers above you, if they're the right managers, or the CEO, if you're going straight to the owner, they're like, this person's all about creating value for me. So then it's like, oh, and by the way, in this role, this is what it pays a person. So I would like that pay. Now, to your point, it's like, They have, like, I would tell you what I would say to you. Do you want to hear what I would say to you?
Yeah, I would love to hear your position on this.
I would say, I appreciate that you want the higher pay, but because you're learning in the company, I will get you there, but you can't start there until you prove that you do it. And I did that actually with a lot of my executives. I said, you're always going to be one ladder below. Once you prove it, then I will bump you to that pay. And but I always gave them a raise, right? Because they're taking on more responsibility. But I had managers in my organization. I'm thinking one right now. Maria, you know who you are. She went from director of HR. She's now EVP of people at the company, at my company. She got promoted 4 or 5 times. And that was the conversation we had, because she would come and I said, look, anyone, I said, if you're learning on my dime, then the Glassdoor rating is for someone that's been in that seat or that pay. But listen, don't get me wrong. I think the approach you're having is perfect. You know, you don't lose by asking, right? Because the worst case is the Darius says yes, but later, right? That's probably your worst case scenario.
Absolutely. And that's why I encourage people, even during a time like this, where like I've turned them in when my company wasn't as successful as we wanted to be. But that's okay, because you're adding something of value and you're not giving ultimatums and you're not making threats. Like I know some people teach how to ask for a raise or how to ask for a promotion, and they basically tell you to go and get another job and then in your company against that one. And I'm like, wait, like if you want to do that to me, you can just go, like, bye. Like, sorry, you don't want to be here, but like you have to want to be in this position, and you should be passionate about what you're doing, and it should feel purposeful to you. And if it doesn't, like if you're working for my company and it doesn't feel purposeful to you, then I want to help you find a job somewhere else, because I want people on my team that are driven to succeed for our mission and our vision. So if you're not passionate about that, then this probably just isn't the right place for you. So I don't like to pin people. I don't like to give ultimatums. And I agree with you. And our company does the same thing. It was kind of like when I went into my boss's office to ask him for that COO position, he said to me, like, well, no, I'm not sure you're the right person, but you can try. And if you can do the position, then you can get the pay and then you can get the title.
Yeah.
So you really have to, like, in that moment, right? All of these emotions ran through my head and all of these thoughts, like all of the extra hours that I put in, all the times I said yes when I knew it was going to take away from my family, all of my dedication, all of my hard work. At a moment, I'm like, is this all for nothing? And then I thought, no, like, Mary, you have got to pull yourself together here. This is your opportunity. This is your chance. And they're giving you an opportunity. And I think sometimes the way we frame things in our mind can be positive or negative. And I have had a history previously about framing things negatively instead of positively for my life. So we always have to look at things and say, what is the benefit? And the benefit is, he didn't say, heck no, like, don't come back here. He said, if you have an opportunity, and if you can prove it, and then we'll give you that pay and that title. And honestly, I think that's really wise, because sometimes people get promoted and they're not capable, but you should always still try. I feel like you should always bet on yourself. You are worth it. Like, you should believe in yourself, because if there's that doubt there, then you're not going to take the actions you need to succeed.
Well, I mean, and I think part of the plan that's really important is you're writing your own job description, right? Essentially. And so like, if you're not capable of doing that job, then you should be writing into the plan to get you capable, right? Because if you can't, like, this is the thing that I'll tell you from the CEO seat. When someone rolls in, is like, I want the title, and I want the pay, but I'm not showing the value I'm going to give to you. I'm not showing what I'm not going to show you when I compare it against the person across the street, how they're doing. I'm just telling you, it's about me. And I want to go back to what you said before. I think that is the absolute worst way to get a promotion, is to go in there and basically throw out an ultimatum. When someone shops my company, I'm like, what, every time they come in here, I'm going to have to deal with this? In my brain, I swear, my business partner used to say this too. He's like, the minute they've looked elsewhere, they're going to look elsewhere again. Mm-hmm. And he's like, they're not, it's a betrayal of trust. It shows that you're commoditizing the relationship. And from the CEO seat, I don't trust you. Now I just know that every time it's all about you, it's not about me, and I'm going to be fighting this the whole way up. So why do like that's not a mutual that's not a mutual relationship, you know. So I think that you're hitting the nail on the head. Don't, whoever said that, don't do that. Or you're at or maybe you're at a company where that's the culture. So, and I was going to add one other thing to what you said. You said you're putting the mission and vision of the companies first. I believe if they've done the work, you should also put the values of the company first and talk about what you're doing in terms of values. So my big question I was going to ask, and we're running a little short on time here. So I have a big question for you, and then I have another question. But my big question for you is, how do you tie in values into this as far as besides behaviorally? But do you do it into the plan where you say, look, here are the company core values, here's how I live them? Is that part of this as well? What's your thoughts around that?
Yes, absolutely. You definitely tie it all together. So we actually teach you, and this is the last plan I turned in right here. And you can see
Wow.
it says 10 million lives on it, which is like our big thing, right? But you always tie in the vision, mission, and core values to your plans. Like, this thing needs to look like it was made for your company, for your brand. And so our core values, we call it putting on the suit. So we have seek and speak the truth, integrity when it's tough, unwavering purpose, and take extreme ownership. And so I will put that language into the plan. And even when I make different headlines, and that's part of what I teach you, is how to align your promotion plan with the core values of your company, because that's so important. You want to look like you're in complete alignment, and you should be living out those core values, especially if you're looking to advance in the company, because people are looking to you as a role model. And so if you're not living out the core values, then you're kind of like a disturbance to the culture. So I really believe highly in living the core values. Knowing the core values is not just something you write on a piece of paper and throw away, and definitely incorporating them into the plan. I believe that's how you succeed.
Yeah, gosh, I can't wait till you read my book.
I can't wait either.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. Yeah, like, hey, guys, you heard it here first. Like, Mary's literally like saying exactly what I say, which is the language of your organization is your values, and knowing them is the most important thing. And like, you're actually a case study for what my book promotes, which is, you know, taking the language of the values, this thing that is the most valuable asset of the organization, and utilizing it literally as an employee to leverage higher compensation, a career path, growth. This is amazing. Like, I can't believe no one else has done this. And the way you approach it is you're really taking, but like, companies in the world of business, they have a thing called a SIM, which is if you're working with an investment banker to sell your company or to buy a company, they'll give you what's called a SIM, which is essentially the plan you just gave, talking about how great the company is, right? So essentially, companies do this, guys, when they sell themselves or when they buy or if I buy another company, I'll ask for their SIM, and it's them promoting how great they are and all the value they're going to bring and all this. What you've essentially done is taking this idea of building a plan for the person and saying, this is how great it is if you give me what I want, right? And you're using the language of values, mission, and vision, which are these cultural assets that are totally under leveraged, both within the company, but also with the employee. And I swear, you are blowing my mind right now. This is such a cool thing. I actually think every company, if you ask me my honest opinion, what I wrote down was this. I'm going to tell you what I wrote. Every team member in the company should have one of these plans. Like, so do you do that? Do you go and give and like in the companies and you're like, I'm going to do this, work with the HR department and build these plans for and it doesn't need to necessarily mean that they get a new job or a promotion at that moment. But if every single employee had this, it would eliminate a lot of painful conversations around what's going to happen in the future for this team. And they know what their opportunities are. Do you guys do that ever?
Yeah, so that is actually one of the goals of the company. And so what I call those are kind of like your power plans. And so instead of like a promotion plan, you teach your team how to put power plans together. And it's all those valuable pieces in the front, because you know, I feel like I have an unfair advantage as an executive because my team puts these plans together. So like, a lot of times you're giving raises or promotions anyways, but you're not getting that maximum value. And
Yeah.
so I do like someone to go through the promotion plan course first, which I've now actually just reduced to a membership, just because I really want to help a lot of so many people. I just want to make a huge impact, because I think people limit themselves because they don't know how, because we don't get any training on how to advance in your career. And if you were like me, practically in tears, nervous, sweating, what do I say, right? You deserve to know what to say and how to do that in a way that is honoring to yourself, honoring to who you are as a person, without having to feel guilty, without having to feel like you're going to look entitled, without having to fear, rejection, retaliation. Those things shouldn't be part of what you're facing when you're trying to advance. But yes, I definitely feel like this should be in organizations, because so many people have no plan to help people grow. And what I've learned is, when you can help your team grow personally and professionally, and they know that and they know that you love them, you're going to keep those people for life. And that makes you a really powerful company. But you're not just keeping them, you are helping them to grow and develop into the key resources that your company truly needs.
Yeah, this is so cool. I'm like, oh, my wheels are spinning right now. I love what you're doing. So, gosh, I want to talk to you more, but I have an appointment I have to get to. And I know you got a busy day probably with the 4 kids and it being Labor Day. So let's do this. Where can people find you? Let's talk about the potential launch date for the book, but where can people find you? Where are your services? What can they sign up for? Just give us the whole lowdown.
Yeah, so you can go to, if you are interested in joining the course, you can go to mypromotionplan.com, and on there you can learn how to register. It is the most affordable monthly membership. You can get through the whole course in 6 weeks, or you can stay on to learn other leadership lessons and go through things. We did this because we really want to make a huge impact. It is about serving, it is about lifting, it is about growing. If you're looking for someone to maybe educate you in your company, or you want to get these power plans put in place, you can just reach out to me through social media. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook. If you type the @mypromotionplan in Facebook, you will find our Facebook page, so you can connect with me through Messenger there, or you can always email me at mary@mypromotionplan.com.
Well, wow, you guys, such cool work, whether you're on the CEO side or whether you're on the employee side. I really think that this is such an interesting way to, think about how to maximize value for both parties. And I always say, that's when it's a huge win-win. When both parties win, then that's where there's mutual value being created. And I really love the format you're using, and I'm so excited for the work. I mean, I'm telling you, I really like you really blew my mind on this call. This is so cool. I'm really thinking about all the value this can create for people. So guys, connect with Mary on social or any of the places. We'll drop those in the comments, and share this. This is really cool. Anyone out there that's looking to move up in their career, they should hear about this. I know you guys are bummed out that you guys didn't see my beautiful face throughout this entire call, but you got the next best thing, which is my beautiful voice. So Mary, thank you so much. So much gratitude having you here today. This was so fun. I even watched my language the whole time. See, guys, I don't have to say curse words, although I love them. Guys, please connect with Mary, and everyone have an amazing Labor Day. We got a huge week this week. I got 15 shows. It's the first of 15 shows. Book launch for me is a week from tomorrow for the core value equation, which is I'm so excited. People are getting I got these beautiful hardcover books made that have taken 12 weeks to get made through our publisher. And I just touched one last night for the first time because my book launch director is in town. So I'm going to meet with the team right now, but we got book launch. So guys, the show, we got a big week. Sign up for our newsletter, which tells you about each show and gives bios on everybody. And that's the www.therealdarius.com. We've updated the site, so there's tons of cool new stuff on there. You can sign up on Facebook, which is where we kind of house all this, is @TheRealDariusM. So just go on there, and that's where we're live streaming. And if you want to get notifications after the show's over, you want to be subscribed to the YouTube channel, and that's The Real Darius on YouTube channel. So with that said, Mary, so much gratitude. Thank you so much for being with us. Really appreciate this. And guys, we'll talk to you. I guess we got a show later on tonight, and we got a bunch of shows this week. So everyone have a great one, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for having me, Darius. Always a pleasure.
Thank you so much. It's not letting me turn off the live stream, so I asked the team to do that. Do me a favor. Do you have my cell phone? Oh shoot.
You can message it to me. I don't have it.
Okay, I'll set. I want to wrap up, so I'll text you, and then let's jump on a quick call here.
Okay, sounds great.
Talk to you soon. Bye.